for all of us. So again, I mean, since there's some technical difficulties, we're going to start again so that we don't miss anything, because it's a very important webinar. So basically, are we live right now, folks? The team at the back, our experts? Yes. Webinar is now streaming live on custom live streaming service. So great. So I see the sign, so we are live. It's a pleasure being with all of you. And we are discussing a very important topic today. It's about battered spouses. It's about people who are subjected to abuse. And the most common question I get about VAWA is that, Mr. Gehi, the name is VAWA, Violence Against the Women's Act. Does it apply to men? The answer is yes. So firstly, a big thank you to My Legal Software. And I'm the founder of it for sponsoring this. And thank you to the team of My Legal Software for doing such a commendable job. And what we are going to do today is we are going to explain everything of what is VAWA. And with me today, I have someone who has done a lot of VAWA cases. I have someone who's a very good lawyer. I have someone who's very experienced in these cases. I have someone who's very knowledgeable in these cases. That's what My Legal Software brings to you. We get you people on the show who know what they're talking about. And this is excellent for paralegals, for new lawyers, and this may even be good for seasoned lawyers, because we have done a lot of VAWA cases over the years. And our law firm, Gehi and Associates, is pleased to inform you that we have handled more than 18,000 cases in the firm. And at this stage, I'm speaking in my capacity just as the founder of My Legal Software. To put it in another way, the current show is very different than our law firm. Both of them are two separate entities. So right now, I'm just speaking on behalf of My Legal Software. And any advice given during this session is general in nature from Greg and me, and does not apply to any specific facts or circumstances. And this is just meant for educational purposes for lawyers and for paralegals and for people who are interested in learning the law. So welcome, Greg. Greg is a very good lawyer, and he has handled a lot of VAWA cases. And we are going to talk about two different things today, Greg. And this is how we are going to begin. I want you to just start with the basics of the law first. And folks, this is a very interesting session, and he's going to walk you through with the law. And then I will be coming in and I'll be talking about complicated issues in VAWA cases, especially before USCIS. Because this particular session is going to be in two parts. One is going to be the basic understanding of the I-360. And the second one is going to be cancellation of removal. That's going to be our next session, which is going to be cancellation of removal under VAWA. That's going to be next week. So it's going to be a part one and a part two. So Greg, let's basically talk a little bit. And people have a lot of questions. Number one is that what is VAWA? You're going to talk about that. You're going to give the brief background and history of VAWA, of what, where VAWA should be used, and like how VAWA can be helpful to people. And thirdly, what is the law of VAWA? For example, I'm married to a green card holder. People think that if I'm married to a green card holder, I have no rights. People think that, if a parent is a green card holder, is abusing a child, he has no rights. Some people think that one has to be a US citizen. Common misconceptions. People think that entry issues are very important, and 245, there are no exceptions, which is incorrect. The exceptions to those things. And basically, VAWA, what is the abuse requirement? What are the standards that people need? I want you to discuss the law, and a great welcome to you. And thank you for joining us on behalf of My Legal Software. This program is sponsored by My Legal Software, and Greg uses My Legal Software. He's a part of Gehi and Associates, but he's going to tell you the beauty of My Legal Software also as he goes along. But let's start talking about the law, and it's time for you to kind of talk a lot as much as possible about the substantive law. Then after that, I will be joining you after people understand the basics. And folks, one request to our viewers, please start asking us questions. Ask us questions. so that we can answer them and we can make this into a great session. Welcome, Greg. Please proceed.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Gehi. It's a pleasure to be here. I love discussing these cases and our shared experience in working on these type of cases. So,
Greg, now you are on, and I'm just going to take a short break because I know that you have a lot of explanations to do. Then I'll be coming back again to join you in the next few minutes because you really need a lot of time, and make sure that you dumb it down so people can understand as much as possible.
Will do.
Thank you.
I'll explain. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for being here. It is really a pleasure to be giving this webinar. VAWA cases are something that Gehi and Associates excels at. Unfortunately, we do many of these cases. And as Mr. Gehi was discussing, there's two ways to do a VAWA case. One is through USCIS, which is the administrative branch of Homeland Security that deals with immigration applications. The other way is in removal proceedings, or as people call deportation or immigration court, and that is in front of a judge. Now, it's called 42B VAWA cancellation of removal, and that's done through court. And there's no time limit on that. If you were in an abusive relationship 30 years ago, you can still pursue it in court. And that we'll be discussing more next time. For VAWA adjustment of status through USCIS, there is a 2-year time limit after you divorced your abusive spouse. Another thing that's fairly interesting and important is, in this office, we unfortunately, we have many VAWA cases. And I would say half of them are men who have an abusive female spouse. And a lot of them are uncomfortable, but we get through it. And it is a great way to get a green card application. So VAWA started off, it's called Form I-360, and that is the petition. And we discussed in other webinars, to get a green card, you need two things. One, you need a petition, and two, you need a green card application. Now, for whatever kind of case you have, your green card application is going to be Form I-485. But for the petition, it could be a number of different forms. Most traditionally, it's based upon a family relative, spouse, you have an adult child, a husband, wife, or parent. Your brothers and sisters can petition for you. And that is done on Form I-130. And that is a relative petition for you. There is Form 589, which is an asylum case. You still need a 485 after it's granted for a green card application. But that's almost as if the government is petitioning for you. The United States government is saying, you can't go back, we're going to petition for you. And we also have Form I-360. Form I-360 is a self-petition. It's when you are petitioning for yourself. Now, the I-360, I believe it was originally for widows and widowers who were married to US citizens and they passed away and they're here left with nothing. And you could fill it out for that. You can self-petition for that. It's also used with immigrant juveniles who are either abandoned, neglected, or abused by their guardians or parents, and that you can petition for yourself once again. They added, during the Vietnam War, they added Amerasians, and these were children of mixed race in Vietnam who didn't have any, whose US citizen parents returned to the United States after the war was over, and they were left without a family. And then most traditionally, and what we're talking about today, is VAWA I-360, which started in around, I believe, 1994, when the Violence Against Women's Act was passed, and it applies to both men and women. So to get a green card, you need this petition, the self-petition, VAWA petition, and then the I-485. And we call that VAWA Adjustment of Status, or VAWA AOS. And those forms can be filed concurrently at the same time, so you don't have to wait as long. Alternatively, you can just file the I-360, wait till that is approved, and then file the I-485. We do this sometimes if the client is in immigration court, and instead of waiting for the hearing date, where if they lose, they can get a removal order, we file the I-360 with USCIS, wait for its approval, and then either dismiss the case or then adjust your status in court. And that gives us an opportunity, if for some reason something goes wrong with the VAWA case at the USCIS level, we can then get a second bite at the apple in court. Okay, so what do you need for VAWA? What is the purpose of VAWA? So the purpose of VAWA is the United States government does not want people to feel that they are trapped in abusive relationships for immigration purposes. There's no reason that anyone who enters into a marriage with a US citizen and could ordinarily petition for them would have to be trapped in a relationship where they're subject to abuse. They want to provide people with another route that says, you don't have to put yourself through this. We don't want you suffering so you can get a green card, okay? So for that to happen, you need the same amount of evidence that you would have to do to prove a bona fide marriage. And that is that you entered into the marriage in good faith. That means the marriage was real, it wasn't done for immigration purposes, and that you tried your best, okay? Additionally, VAWA or VAWA I-360 has a residency requirement. And that requires that at some point you lived in the United States with your abusive spouse in the same domicile, same apartment, house, tent, whatever it is, condo, but that you lived together in the same place. There's no requirement amount of time, but that you live together at some point. Okay, then you need to prove the abuse. You have to prove that you suffered due to the US citizen or legal permanent resident that they abuse you. Excuse me, word salad. So we start off with the good faith marriage evidence, and this is usually, depending on the case, we have some cases where people have been married for a decade and they have children together and they have a mortgage, and there is a plethora of evidence to prove this marriage was in good faith. Other times, people get involved in relationships and they're rather brief. They get married in good faith to someone that they are in love with and that they believe loves them, and they turn into, and it devolves into an abusive relationship. Practically speaking, in my experience, we see people who marry immigrants, and then when it comes time to secure their legal status here, they see it as a loss of control. And they will, if their spouse gets that green card, they feel threatened that they won't be needed anymore. And they act out. They're physically abusive, they're emotionally abusive, and they see this, they see their spouse getting legal status as a loss of control over that person, and they react poorly. It's quite upsetting, the cases we have. So, but for the good faith marriage, you obviously need a marriage certificate. Other than that, proof that you live together. We look for joint taxes, photos, children, any communications of any kind, whether it could be phone calls, text messages, Facebook posts, If we don't have that, then we look for other evidence. We get affidavits, friends and family. Commonly, we have landlords say, yeah, they live together. They seem like a happy couple. And the landlord will provide that evidence. That's, welcome back, Mr. Gehi.
Yeah, I'm here because I wanted to give you some chance, and you already have a question from a viewer.
We do.
Yes, but let's first take his question here. And this is from Roland Johnson. I have a client that filed a 360 about a year ago. Can they now file a 485 and a work authorization? My answer is yes, they can. I'll tell you how you need to look this up. Now, if you're a new lawyer, if you're someone who hasn't done a 𝗷𝗷 before, always look at two things. Number one, if the abuser is a US citizen, the good thing is that he falls as an immediate relative. And for immediate relatives, the good news is that you don't even have to worry about the priority date. So you should file the 485 with the 360. Yes, you should file it. You don't have to wait for the approval of the 360. There's a big mistake that people do. So you can file the 485 and the 360 together. Now, if the abuser is a green card holder, the good news is the priority date is current in the visa bulletin. So you can still file the 485 together. And then you're going to get the work permit and you're going to be in good shape for your client. So that is my answer to the question of Roland Johnson. Great question. And people, friends, attorneys, folks, if you have questions, please do send it now. We are taking a lot of questions from lawyers and from paralegals who really want to learn basically 𝗷𝗷. If you want to learn 𝗷𝗷, this is the place. We'll be happy to teach you. Now, another thing, Greg, I'm going to get into some details about the I-360. We've seen cases wherein a person came to us and he went to another lawyer and they were married to members of the same sex and both of them were men. So this lawyer did not take up the case because he told them this is the Violence Against Women's Act and you both are married to the members of the same sex. The lawyer was 100% wrong. Even if two men are married, the law is the same for 𝗷𝗷. If two women are married, if they're lesbians, the law is the same for 𝗷𝗷. So it doesn't matter whether it's a same-sex marriage or whether it's an opposite-sex marriage. The good news is that 𝗷𝗷 applies to everybody, especially when it comes to spouses. This is a very important thing for people to know. Another issue which I've observed about 𝗷𝗷 sometimes, look at this case which I handle, folks. Oh, you all are going to love it. Person comes to my office, and this person was married. And after the marriage, the husband was a US citizen, never wanted to sponsor his spouse, and they were married for more than 7 years. When he met with some lawyers, they told her that you're not qualified for your green card because your spouse has never sponsored you. Absolutely wrong advice. Do you agree or disagree, Greg?
The
lawyer told him that you should have filed a petition, like, an I-130 petition. It's not required under the statute, under 240. No. It's not required at all. So even if there is nothing filed, you can still file a 360. And for 360, one of the biggest things in this case was that we had to prove extreme cruelty. So Greg, can you talk a little bit about what is extreme cruelty?
Yes, I can. So, and that's right where we were at when I was going through all, you came in at the perfect point. So we're talking about good faith marriage. So extreme cruelty is cruelty. It's showing that you were abused, that you suffered because of your spouse's actions towards you. So it does not have to be physical. If it is physical and you have it documented, it's by definition, it is considered abuse if it's physical. If it's emotional abuse, then you need a little bit more documentation. We usually ask, if it's only emotional abuse, we usually ask the clients to go to a psychologist to get a report that explains what happened, what did this person do to you, and how you suffered, and the effect that it happened on you. Now, this could be, the emotional abuse can be anything from running up your credit cards to constantly putting you down. In a lot of these situations, we have clients come in, they say, they're just become so mean to me. Every time I walk in the door, they belittle me. They say racist things to me. They want me to convert my religion. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be emotional. It could be constantly putting you down, cursing at you, making fun of you. But for it to be only emotional, we need to show that the effect it had on you. Okay? If it's,
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry, it was a distraction over here. So if they did this and it's emotional abuse, you need to prove that it had an effect on you. How did it upset your life? Did you have depression? Did you suffer any psychological issues? Are you on medication? Do you have to see a psychiatrist? This is what it would be. For this evidence, as we were, I was discussing that you resided together, it was good faith marriage. The evidence of abuse can be, the first question I ask is there a police report or there are witnesses? That makes things a whole lot easier if there's a police report. If there's a police report and your spouse was arrested, and we could prove that they physically abused you, that is abuse by definition. So it'll make your case a lot stronger. If it is emotional abuse, then we strongly suggest you get a psychological evaluation and you write a detailed affidavit discussing what happened, how often it happened, and how you suffered. So we'll ask clients to say, I met this person, we got married, we had this kind of wedding, and then this is, around this date is when things took a turn for the worse. And they'll explain it, and a psychiatrist will corroborate the statement in their affidavit, and we'll use that. There's also lots of secondary evidence we have. We'll have bank accounts. We have, I'm bringing up the landlord again, because it comes up in a lot of our cases where the only witness is a landlord. Something happened in an isolated apartment or room, and it's he said, she said. So it comes down to credit, right? And and a lot of our clients are very credible. You believe them. But if you add some corroborating evidence, such as a landlord writing a little note, yes, on this date, I heard screaming and yelling, and then so-and-so ran out, and I saw that. It will help their case a lot. Now, technically, you can have a VAWA case solely with just a marriage. The toughest VAWA case would be if you just had a marriage certificate and an affidavit.
Now, I'd like to talk something about this. Recently, Greg, we handled a case wherein we had very little evidence. And we argued that in this case, the spouse destroyed the evidence and did everything within his or her reach to kind of basically thwart thwart the green card for a client. And guess what? We were able to get a lot of affidavits. We were able to kind of, get all the other kind of secondary evidence here. And after 3 years, I'm happy to say that this case was approved. And thanks to basically, and also we were able to look up a lot of our templates. And the templates, luckily, we use my legal software. And through that, the templates were very helpful. Greg, since you use my legal software, can you tell us how does that help you as a lawyer, right from creating these VAWA cases or immigration cases and keeping track of things, making sure that if you're missing something, it also has that thing wherein you can even find a psychologist there because you have your resources section and everything. How does my legal software help you in your practice?
So
And just be blunt.
I'll be blunt. So I'll be blunt. And I tell this to the staff here. I said the most important part of my job is not even being a lawyer. It is communication, and it is communicating with the client and the rest of the staff what is going on and how to appropriately manage each case. And with my legal software, I can instantaneously open up a file and figure out what is going on and relay that information to another employee, another attorney, or a staff member and the client themselves. And it saves me, instead of having to go through a stack of evidence and making 20 phone calls, it is all right there. Phone numbers, email, reports, anything I would need to effectively manage a case is presented instantaneously.
All right. Now we also have Brian. We have Brian. Brian, if you could come live with your My Legal Software background a little bit, you can talk about it if you want. And Ravi, welcome. Brian has been using My Legal Software. So can you tell us a little bit about how My Legal Software is helping lawyers? I'm sure you have a lot of people coming to you. And if you could talk about it for a few seconds, then after that, I believe Greg is going to talk about the common features that he uses in My Legal Software. Ravi, why don't you just talk a little bit about My Legal Software? Then Greg would like to actually show of how a case starts, a 360 especially, and a 485, and how he uses it, and until an RFE and how he goes up with it. Ravi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me, sir. So yeah, the main feature I'm using My Legal Software, I'm very obliged with the invoicing feature. It helps me a lot in saving the costing and collecting the fees from client, and it also helps me in collecting fees from clients through card knobs. I don't need to clear any cost.
Now, about creating a case, Greg, since Ravi wants to talk to you a little bit, can you tell him, because Ravi runs My Legal Software? So what do you like about My Legal Software from Ravi's team?
So what I like about it is, in a normal law firm, if someone else calls a client, you may not even know about this. If in our office, somebody calls a client, they put a note, someone emails the client, there is a note, there is evidence that this happened. And there's information that I don't have to go across the hall and say, Ravi, what did so-and-so tell you about their case? Did they make their appointment? Did they make their payment? I can just do it all myself, and it's instantaneous. Also, the files, they're all well organized. You upload whatever you want to upload and title it, and you have access to it. We have some cases in MyLet, they're, I want to say, over 10 years old, because the software has been around for, you've been using it for a little bit, right? 10 years old. I can see what happened on this date at this hearing 10 years ago, like I was there. I can see if the clients provided us with this evidence. Not, I have their email address, I have their phone number, I have all the communications that they've ever made with our law firm for the past 10 years.
So now Priyanjali is going to kind of work with you to show a little bit about My Legal Software. Then after that, we are going to get into the question and answer session about VAWA now, of how the case starts, how you start a VAWA case on My Legal Software. Then after that, we'll go step by step of exactly when the work permit comes, whether you should travel by advance parole. Then after that, we are going to talk about entry issues. We're going to talk about waivers, self-hardship waivers. So let's basically go through step by step through My Legal Software, and let's talk about every step. We're going to talk about the waiver. We're going to talk about the work permit. We're going to talk about basically the adjustment application. And also, as you rightly know, the affidavit of support in VAWA cases is very different than the I-864. We'll talk about that. Welcome, Priyanjali. Can you say a few words about My Legal Software? And Greg, you can just display the platform to see so that Greg can show them of what really helps them a lot.
Will do. I'll try and log in right and figure this out. So who's up? Is it me or Priyanjali?
Priyanjali?
Thank you so for having me on this show. So yes, my legal software, I have been using it for quite some time now, and it is extremely easy for.
Can you display my legal software so Greg can show it to them about the features? You can display it and so Greg can show them how it's useful to him.
Yes, sir. Sure.
The
Just
demo
give me
version.
1 second. Pull out my.
So Greg, over here, you can show them how you start a case, the retainer and the entire process. For example, you've handled so many of these 𝗷𝗷 cases. You can talk about it, why this software is so different.
Why is this software different? So it incorporates everything. I'm trying to get it to show up, but it won't let me log into the dummy account. I don't want to betray any of it.
But I think Priyanjali is going to show you the dummy, I believe. Yes, Priyanjali?
So Priyanjali, if you could log in, because it's.
Either Ravi can, either one of them. That's fine.
Because
I just need it. Pulling up my screen, I can share it.
Perfect. Because
of confidentiality reasons, I think Greg cannot share his screen because we have client data and client information. So he's going to show you the demo version of it. And by the way, we've been using this and we have 18,000 clients in the firm, Gehi and Associates. So just to let you know the power of my legal software. And also use it for general practice cases. Greg also does some criminal cases and it really helps him a lot to handle it through my legal software.
Yes, it does.
Greg, do you also like the forms of immigration speed?
Yes, because you can, traditionally, you would have to sit down and type in, this is the name, this is your birth date, and you'd have to do it over and over and over again. With my legal software, we can create a profile for each client, and we could have multiple profiles in one case, and we plug in their information, and it takes care of all that. It limits the amount of work we have to do that traditionally is not, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's, typing in someone's birthday 11 times on, 20 different forms can be a little tedious. And this takes care of all of that for you. It is great. It also has, whenever we touch a case, you write a note, say, I've done it 15 times today already. I spoke with a client. I said, this is your court date. Come to the office. We'll discuss. And it can go to hourly billing. Whether you do flat fee, contingency, or hourly billing, it automatically keeps track of everything. So I think what Mr. Gehi's getting at is with MyLS is that everything is incorporated into this, whether it's accounting, payments, evidence, calendaring. I mean, calendaring it seems easy, but it's very, you cannot miss a hearing date ever. And MyLS allows us to double check and have.
And what I like is that we don't miss deadlines, in our case, because we get 3 or 4 different ways of, kind of saving deadlines. And other than that, they have the hourly billing feature. Then they have the mail-in feature, the mail-out feature, which you cannot find in other softwares. And every day there's work going on from lawyers, and even Greg gives an input. And we have 2 versions. One is the general practice version, which they have, and the second one is the immigration speed, which is, kind of very good for immigration lawyers. So, Priyanjali, are you ready to display the product, your demo?
But on that note, I will say whether you have flat fee clients, hourly clients, or contingency fee clients, you can add in all your accounting properly. So you know how much time you're spending on each case. And if you're a contingency fee attorney that does mostly contingency fees, you can add all the billings, all the work all the time you spent. So,
Priyanjali, would you like to say something?
Priyanjali.
Yeah, she's trying to actually sharing the screen for.
Okay, so Ravi, so the thing is that you like the accounting feature very much that people have been asking you for. What is so special about the accounting feature? Because lawyers miss out a lot of monies, in the billing processes. How does My Legal Software help them with that?
Yeah, so the accounting feature is quite good. It helps me in tracking the outstanding balance of client, like how much they owe me, and so that I will have a full record. I can extract the ledger statement from the system. I also raise an invoice to client. If I raise the invoice, it automatically goes to client dashboard, and from there, client will be able to pay the bill. So it helps me in communication time. In like it reduces the communication time so that client will get invoice directly instantly and they can pay directly from their
Right.
client
And what's the
dashboard.
best way to get in touch with you? Is it 934 LawTech or mylegalsoftware.com? How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, both the systems are working. Like anyone can call us on 934 LawTech. It's quite
It's a
easy
very easy number, 934 LAWTECH, or cannot get easier. Go to mylegalsoftware.com and schedule a demo.
You can schedule a demo directly from there. There you will get a calendar link over there, and you can schedule demo directly.
Right. And you have two versions. One is you have the immigration speed for immigration lawyers, and you have GP speed for general practice lawyers. Correct. And you have all the forms, the 360 form, the 485 form, then the UR42A forms, and all the immigration forms are there. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. And another thing is the forms, they update the forms.
Updating, that's a regular update on the forms because half the people don't even update the forms over there.
And you'll get a package returned because the USCIS will say, oh, there's a new edition. You don't have to worry about that. Another thing when it comes to accounting, Ravi, so just a little background, a little personal, I submit whenever I have expenses, I submit them to Ravi. And all I have to do is say this date with the receipt, and I give the case number. And Ravi can go on, look at the case, see that I went to court, see that I needed a cab, and then he issues me my, the expenses. So it helps us in the company itself manage our own.
Right.
Right.
So, now let's move a little further. We are going to talk about this a little more. We were at VAVA. So first, if anyone wants to call Ravi and schedule a demo or to, Priya and Gehi, or they can call 934 LawTech or go to mylegalsoftware.com and schedule a demo. And it's also written over here on the chat group, I believe, mylegalsoftware.com. And it's really easy to schedule a demo. Now, let's get back to the subject on point. Over here, you have a situation wherein the person has entered into the country without a visa. Wow, here is your demo. And Greg, talk about the calendar. It's all yours right now. This is your favorite stuff.
And we're back.
And then I'm going to join again in the next few minutes so you can explain it. Look at the magic of My Legal Software. You may not find this everywhere. And it also, the calendar is also synced with Google, which you won't find that.
Yes. Yeah. So when we have court dates, we can set it so we get, I can look at the calendar ahead of time and I can see I have a court date, or I can see I have a deadline to submit something. But it also sends us emails and we can set how many emails we want. Hey, and I have it set so it goes, Greg, next week you have a hearing. Greg, 6 days from now you have a hearing, you better be prepared. And so we never miss anything. Even when we're busy, there's a lot going on, we can never miss anything because it's all there. Now, Priyanjali, do you have any dummy cases we could take a look at? Oh, we have one from our London office. You could click on a case. We'll just show everyone how it works. So a K1 visa is a fiance visa. So if you're a US citizen and you have your fiance is living abroad, this is basically serves as the I-130 petition. And when they get here, you have 90 days to marry, and then you apply for a green card. So click on one of them, Priyanjali. Or okay, we'll whenever we figure it out, we'll just click on one whenever you, and we can just go through all the features one by one. So until I'll go back to VAWA, or no, you got it now. Just click on a case. Okay, so we'll go back to VAWA until we can set up the demo. Okay, so I believe we were talking about abuse, and Mr. Gehi brought up, oh, okay, perfect, it's here. So you'll notice right away, it says call update. So if you're in immigration court, you have to make submissions, and we refer to them as call-ups. So this is a deadline that someone put in, Kate, and you see invoice number, total fee, and on the top, you can see their email address, phone number, and information about their case. If you click on more, you'll see their whole address and everything. Now, Priyanjali, if you go up to the top on case notes, like scroll all the way up, you'll have case summary. Yeah, there we go, strategy and summary. So I don't know if anything's filled out, but okay, here we go. So these are brief, test kind of explanations. So when I get an email, and if you're an attorney, this happens all the time. I'll wake up, I'll get an email, it'll be an emergency, and I need to know what's going on so I can fix it. I can look at the summary and see the basics of what's going on. Then I can see the strategy. What do we intend on doing to resolve this if someone's being deported? And then the case notes will show me right now what is happening. What are we doing? What was the last contact we had with the client, the court, and what we're doing? And I'll type in, I spoke with the client. They told me this, they're getting me this, they're nervous about this. And yep, and this is a comment feature. Perfect. And and I would substantiate. So, and if you go to add case note, you'll see you could put in how much time you spent on the case. Well, if you go back up to case note, add the case note, and then put in the amount of time, and then it'll show up in hourly billing if you set your hourly billing, which you need to set in your profile.
So folks, you all are looking at what a lawyer is talking to you about My Legal Software here. There's another thing which I like about this, Greg, is especially for new people, I've seen that they have this 1-800 number here, which you won't find in a lot of softwares. So even your paralegal will be checking it so that the client is not in remote proceedings. So much caution has been taken in the development of My Legal Software to make sure that even your paralegal who's new gets trained really well. A lot of TLC, tender love and care, has been taken into existence in the development of the software.
I have to say, it also helps me learn if I'm in like a different subject matter. I can look at old cases. Like if I have a question that I want to ask another.
Yes, you can go into that old.
How do I do this? I can't tell you how many times they just send me the case number.
No, another thing what I like is that.
And I just can learn it.
The other good thing is that we have a legal help desk for lawyers, which means if a lawyer gets stuck on a question, which not many companies offer, hardly any one of them, that we can even answer questions to lawyers when they get stuck up on a case. And we come on the phone and we help them out with some questions. Attorneys come online to help lawyers out.
Yeah, yeah. You can see what other attorneys did on with previous cases. Like I said, a lot of times someone will just text me a case. I'll say, how do I do this? And they'll text me a case number. I can look up the case and I can see exactly what they did. And I know how to.
Right. So a few other things that I'd like to mention, which are critically important out here, is that exactly the client billing is very important. I also like the hourly billing feature. And besides that, I love the forms very much. The templates, the incoming mail and the outgoing mail. How does that help you, Greg?
The outgoing, because I can see exactly what came in.
What came in, what went out.
It goes to the case
And helps
number.
you to collect money, from the client when the mail comes in, goes out.
So
Everything, right.
practically what
Let's
happens.
go to one other important feature we have is that we are talking about what do you call that? The front desk feature, the front desk. That's another important feature that tells you, how many people came into your office, what happened, what did not happen, and who are the clients who entered. So there are tons of features which you may not find in other softwares. And this is the beauty. So the difference in my legal software is that it's like a one portal that can handle everything for you. It also has time and attendance for your employees, who came in, who logged in, who logged out. All those things are already included in this. So now, if there's anyone who needs a demo or wants to kind of proceed with my legal software, they can get in touch with Priyanjali. The number is 934-LAW-TECH, or you can go to mylegalsoftware.com. So let's talk about the law now. Let's get back to the law, because the name of my legal software show is Learn the Law, sponsored by My Legal Software. It's Learn the Law, sponsored by My Legal Software. So let people learn the law. Now, Greg, I came across a situation with a client recently, and I'm going to love this. So Ravi, need your banner at the back. So what exactly happened in this case is the person came in with a fraudulent entry. Now, what I did in that case is that he had proved that he entered on a fraudulent passport. He was a victim of abuse. So do you know that under 𝐷𝐷 requirements, under 212 of the INA, you have to show self-hardship. That's the beauty of it. Because in 𝐷𝐷, the good thing is you don't have to show that exactly that the hardship has to be to a US citizen, parent, or spouse. So the good thing is that you don't have to show any hardship to anyone else except for yourself. How do you like that, Greg, about 𝐷𝐷? So, folks, when you have any case, and if it's your first 𝐷𝐷 case, and if you are a member of My Legal Software, we can walk you through the process. Lawyers are there to help you. Greg is there. I'm there. There are other people who can help you. If you are a serious immigration practitioner, the good thing is that you will need support from good lawyers who can help you. And, this is one reason why lawyers don't make a lot of money, Greg. I'll tell you why. Client walks into the door. They give up the client because they don't have a backup gun. They don't have someone to help them on the help desk. The software may cost them pennies. That one case can make the money for the entire year for the lawyer. Because what My Legal Software offers you is help needed from lawyers when you need it, which means we have an attorney help desk. We have a legal researcher help desk for lawyers who get stuck with problems. And that's a membership benefit for new lawyers. That's a great benefit of people who are starting the practice. That's a great benefit for seasoned lawyers who have to go through and do the damn research. We do the research for you. If needed, of course, we work it out with our friends to let you know what our answer is. Then after that, we brainstorm and we come up. That's what people love about My Legal Software. Because that one case made them $5,000. One case made them $5,000 because the lawyer is about to give up the case. Can be any immigration case. Doesn't have to be a 𝐷𝐷 case. If we know it, we'll help you. If we don't know, we'll tell you straight. Of course, no one can know everything, but we can try to get you that. Imagine what you get with My Legal Software. Now, let me answer some questions. What are the instances 𝐷𝐷 application might get rejected? Okay, number one is that if you cannot prove extreme cruelty or abuse, and if you do not meet the burden of proof, it's going to be denied. Or rejected means denied, that's what I understand. So can a 𝐷𝐷 petitioner be eligible for 𝐷𝐷 relief if they have a criminal record? Depends on the criminal record. If it's a minor criminal record, then yes. But if it's a major kind of criminal record, the answer is no. because good moral character can be an issue under 𝐷𝐷𝐷 and your case can be denied. Can a 𝐷𝐷𝐷 petitioner be eligible for 𝐷𝐷𝐷 relief if they have a criminal record? We answered that. Next one is, are there any limitations on the number of 𝐷𝐷𝐷 petitions that can be granted each year? The answer is no. Luckily, there are no kind of requirements as such. So the good news is that you can apply for as many 𝐷𝐷𝐷 cases, as you want, and that's good. Can a 𝐷𝐷𝐷 self-petitioner be deported while the petition is pending? Yes, he can be. If you get charged with an aggravated felony and if you have a deportation order, of course you can be. But if you don't have a deportation order, then you cannot be deported. So first you need to have a deportation order, and then you can be deported. But if you have a regular deportation, a good lawyer is going to talk about 8 CFR 1003, wherein you file a motion to reopen and file a motion to stay. How can an attorney help a 𝐷𝐷𝐷 applicant who is afraid to testify against the abuser in court? All right, so the good thing is that the abuser doesn't, it's a very secret proceedings, wherein the abuser is not even called in court in these cases. And what you're going to put in your 𝐷𝐷𝐷 petition will never be shared with the abuser according to 𝐷𝐷𝐷 laws. So that's the beauty of 𝐷𝐷𝐷. So the biggest fear that people have in 𝐷𝐷𝐷 cases is that what happens if my husband will know that I filed this? He will not know. Simple. And in our law firm, we kind of follow that very well. We make sure that Gehi and Associates does it. And this is where, again, my legal software comes in very handy to us because it tells us whom to talk to and whom we should not be talking to. Ethics is another major component of my legal software so that the lawyer can shy away if anyone calls and tries to inquire about the information. The other good thing which I like about my legal software is the security aspect. The servers are very good. And basically the data is confidential. And suppose you'll never lose your data. That's the best part about it, because they have many backup servers. So you'll never be handicapped that, oh my God, my computer is not working. They have the data saved for you. It's secured. And I think they work with AWS and other good companies who are very well known in terms of data management and everything. It's a cloud-based software. Can a 𝐷𝐷𝐷 applicant still be eligible for relief if they are not currently living with the abuser? Of course, most abusers do not live with their spouses. So you don't have to live with your spouse and undergo abuse or cruelty under the regulations of 𝐷𝐷𝐷. So you can tell him goodbye and you can still get it. One important thing about 𝐷𝐷𝐷, this is where a lot of lawyers miss out. You cannot apply for a 𝐷𝐷𝐷 case before USCIS if you're filing a I-360 if your client has been divorced and if it's been more than 2 years. So that's a straight bar. So you have to apply within 2 years of the divorce. That is the most important thing. Within 2 years, yes, but after 2 years, you cannot. But there is a way. If you're in court, we are going to talk about it at the advanced session of 𝐷𝐷𝐷. That's going to be happening after 2 weeks. Advanced issues in 𝐷𝐷𝐷 cases before the court. That's going to be a next session, which is very important, and you can ask people to attend. So a big thank you to my legal software. And folks, great job. And if anyone wants to be a speaker, like how Greg has been a speaker, we've been getting a lot of people who want to become speakers here. With due respect, we get so many applications. If you're really good, we'll be happy to have you. And very soon we'll be having outside speakers come in. And there's a gentleman from Harvard who has been chosen to come in and speak over here. So he'll be coming in. So this is not an ordinary platform from my legal software, folks. There's a lot of fine tuning that goes on in every move, because my legal software is different. It's not like other software. The team is very powerful. There's some great players working here. And you'll be surprised when you take a demo from my legal software. You'll have people with a very strong legal background training you on how to use my legal software. If you're an immigration lawyer, these people can even train you of what is an I-130 or a 485 if you don't know. That's the talent of my legal software trainers. So you'll be in right hands. All you need to do is to schedule a demo. The number is, I think, Ravi, can I have your screen up? Can you come up, please?
Sure, Mr. Gehi.
Yes. So the number is 934 Law Tech. And there are two products, General Practice Speed and Immigration Speed. And you can go to mylegalsoftware.com It's getting a little blurred at the back, Ravi. I don't know why, but you were better before. So, all right. So 934 Law Tech, and it's GP speed and immigration speed. That's the number. And if you want to schedule a demo, go to mylegalsoftware.com. Now, 2 weeks from now, that is going to be, I believe, the 13th of April. Am I correct? If anyone can look at the calendar.
I can look.
Yes, that's correct. 13th of April.
Look at that, right on the back of my head. Calculator right there. 13th of
Anytime.
April at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic is going to be advanced issues in VAWA cases before the immigration court. Please excuse me, I'm using what do you call that, caps and non-caps over here. This is just for the knowledge of paralegals and lawyers who want to argue the cases in immigration court. And I'm going to share one secret. You all who have watched the show will be learning things which you might have not even, you may not even be aware of, because a lot of VAWA cases are based upon my practical experiences and how I have kind of basically, been successful in these cases, even when I've had very little evidence in such cases, and judges have been kind enough to grant those cases. So we are going to talk about that in our next session. And a big thank you to Brian, to Ravi, and to Priyanjali for hosting the show. Thank you, Greg. You're just an amazing lawyer. And I'm sure that you love My Legal Software, which is your lifeline, as you call it.
Yes, I do. It was such a pleasure being here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And also to Ravi, Brian, and Priyanjali, who work incredibly hard here. And
you love the software very much, Greg.
well, I use it. It's never shut down. When I come in, it's open before I clock in.
All right, so it keeps you busy around the clock. So
well,
folks, real nice talking to you about the use of My Legal Software. But it's time for you to check it out. Only if you're comfortable, you should go with it. And we'll be back next week. On the 13th, April 13th, advanced issue in VAWA cases before the immigration court with Greg and Naresh and Gehi, part 2. We are going to discuss trials. We are going to discuss evidence. We are going to, there's one other thing is that which not many people know. And this is where lawyers go wrong. And we're going to talk about some issues that lawyers cannot even imagine. Wherein you really want to get a client green card, I'm going to show you some ways of how you get a case before the immigration court and why do you should get it before the immigration court, especially if you have a strong VAWA case, because the good thing is that if the divorce is more than 2 years, the good thing is that if an immigration court, that bar does not apply. Not many people know that, right?
Okay.
So we'll talk about those kind of, fine lines through which you can really kind of navigate, and you can kind of basically, find your way out in court and get a client the green card. So thank you, folks. It's been a fantastic session. Thank you to My Legal Software. Thank you to Greg for being here. And thank you to Brian. Thanks to Priyanjali. Fantastic job. 934 Law Tech, My Legal Software. This is Attorney Gehi and Attorney Greg Ippolito from Gehi and Associates. This instant program was brought to you by My Legal Software, 2 separate companies in a sense. And I'm the founder, but we do not mix practice A with practice B. And we are speakers on behalf of My Legal Software. And the advice given is general in nature and does not apply to any particular facts or circumstances. For more information, you may call My Legal Software at 934 Law Tech. And the other good news is for people who are from New York, now My Legal Software is on New York One. You can watch the commercials going on New York One. Make up your minds because this is a big brand which is supported by some very good people. So you can proceed further accordingly. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back again on the 13th.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.